welcome to another edition of Peptalk. I'm your host, Travell XMTJE. On this episode, we'll be talking about, is love all we need in today's relationships? Which of course is a gray area. It's not black and white, so there's not a very direct answer. There's going to be nuance to it. So I'm going to try to dive into that and talk about that. First off, I will say, just to give a direct answer, is love all we need in the relationships today? I would say no, but it's with a caveat, of course. So I would say no, but it's speaking from the way of the world, the way how people look at things nowadays and how things are totally different. For instance, back generations ago, when they were in relationships, they found any and every reason to stay. In today's demographic or the way that people approach it, they find any reason to leave. So it's kind of the extreme on both ends. And on one thing, if love did exist, you'll find a way to work it out. On the other one, the extreme, it doesn't matter if love exists. If it's something that I can pick at you about, almost everybody will be able to, because nobody's perfect. On that side, it would be that whatever I could find to pick at you about, I would find that to be a reason to leave. And that's how we get into a state, so much fakeness, fake and phoniness going on in today's relationships. And people just living off of selfish endeavors. And it's never about the collection, it's all about the self. Or what you can do for me, or what's the good situation for me. It's never about coming together, forming a partnership, building, and so on. I seen something I think it was on Facebook, somebody had posted, where it said that I asked God for flowers and he gave me rain. And I was like, that's pretty good, because in the process of things, I understand that God is giving you rain because rain will produce the flowers. But there is a process before progress. That used to be how relationships used to be. And that's why love was a very integral and a very rooted soil, I should say, in relationships. But nowadays, it's all about microwave society. It's not about going through a struggle at times to get something from point A to point B, from point B to point C, and so on and so on. So we kind of lost the sauce, or the glue, I would say, to how to form and build a relationship where it stays everlasting. So that's how we kind of waited love out. But love is such a strong emotion, probably the strongest of them all, that it can conquer all. But you have to have two like-minded people that are on the same page, that have the same goals, and that are compatible. Meaning that they're willing to give the give and take and go the back and forth for the better good, instead of having somebody or one person or the other person start to compete. Instead of being compatible, they're being competing. So therefore, their interest is competing against the other person's interest. And when that comes into play, nobody wins in the situation. So explaining that affairs of how relationships are today is kind of how I want to go about this. So to me, of course, love has to be present in a relationship for it to have some sustainability, and for at the end of it all to be successful. But I think there are other characteristics and qualities that I know that I would like to see in the relationship that I'm involved in before love. It's crazy to say that, but it's just the truth of the matter. And I learned that with the society that I live in, because it doesn't matter at times how spiritual, how faithful, and how much belief you have. If you're not able to adapt, you'll always come out on the losing end, and on the short end of the stick. And if you want to have something successful, you have to find people who are like-minded, and who are willing to shoot for the same things you are, so you can be on the same page. Because otherwise, you're going to get into conflict of interest, competing ideas. I can do this better than you can, and so on and so on. And I've just grown old with all of that rigmarole and all that malarkey. And the next relationship I'll be in, it will be with somebody who is like-minded and someone who has certain qualities. I mean, I'm going to speak on them in just a moment, but I would hope the person I'm with, I fit some of the qualities and the things that they like too. So I know that we'll be on the same page and we'll be pulling the rope in the same direction instead of having a tug of war. So let's get to some of the qualities that I think are more important in today's relationships to build a successful relationship than love. First off, with me, loyalty is a big thing. And I have realized that loyalty is a two-way street. So in my me being a loyal person, I thought it would be okay if I just found that good people or people that I felt that were good fits. If people don't carry the same characteristics that you have, you're going to come up feeling hurt or come up feeling shortchanged or not feeling happy in the situation. So I think loyalty is a big thing that has to be Loyalty is a big thing that has to be in play when it comes to the relationship with me. Because I'm a very loyal person. And I don't mean, it's so crazy that you have to kind of explain these things. When I'm saying loyalty, I don't mean like, I actually do this so you need to die for me or blood in, blood out. Yeah, I get the concept of that. When I mean loyalty, I mean like you who you are in my face when you're behind my back. You defend my name or defend my honor when I'm not present. You're not down talking me or bad talking me or playing mind games that in my face, of course you're not doing it, but behind my back, you are. So I really don't know who you are. So that's the type of loyalty. Loyalty, I mean, is be who you are all the time. In my face, I can expect the same person when I'm not around, behind my back. So that's something that is needed. I want to know that the person I'm building with we're actually on the same team, and I'm not being stabbed in the back when I'm not present and just made to look like it's something that is really not. It's like smoke and mirrors. So loyalty is definitely a top characteristic that I look for in a relationship. And obviously I'm loyal, so you're gonna get the same thing in return from me. So I'm not asking anything that I can't provide myself. Secondly, honesty. I feel as though honesty is something that's kind of, with love, has kind of gone down the wayside, all because of selfishness and because of people trying to be greedy. But I'm a very honest person. And even if someone is telling me something that I may not agree with it, or I may feel as though that it could be harsh, whatever may be the case. If you're being honest with me and I know you got my best intentions in mind when you're speaking to me or when we're communicating, I will get on board with that. Like I said, sometimes you don't have to like things, sometimes how they're brought about, but at the end of the day, I'm an accountable person. I deem myself to be responsible. So therefore, if it makes sense, it will apply and it will fit with me. Honesty, like I said, it kind of ties in with loyalty to me. Some people would say it doesn't, but just be who you are. Be the person that I see in my face that we're talking together, we're spending time together, we're getting to know each other. Be that person. Is there something you don't like about how I carry myself? If it's something you don't like about the way I do things when it comes to you, don't hold it in and tell, another friend of yours, or tell a family member of yours, or tell, another man. If we're in a relationship, you go tell another man about our situation. Tell me. Give me the opportunity to fix it. And like I said, I don't have to agree what you say, but if it's the truth, it's the truth. And I can't tell you how you should feel. So if you feel a certain way about something, I can't say, oh, that's not true. That's from my lens, from my outlook. Then I'm not being respectable to your feelings. So therefore, if I'm never given the opportunity, and that's where honesty comes into play. If I'm never given the opportunity, then I could know no difference. I would not know anything. Everybody's not going to react the way that you want them to. So just because you're telling somebody and this might not be true, they may not give you the proper reaction. But give them time to process it, to diagnose what's actually going on, what was said, and what does it mean. And if they are true to themselves and are a very honest and good person, they are going to come to you respectful with how can we change this? Because I'm all about that. If we're coming together, so what can we do to make this better? What we going to do about this? That type of thing. That's the type of lingo I like to have when I'm in a relationship. I don't want it to be, well, I'm doing this or you doing that. No, then we may as well be single. If that's how we're going to approach it, we might as well be single. But I think that camaraderie, that bonding, that togetherness, sticking to it, if it means something and if it's for the bigger picture, I think that's always good. I think that should be something that should be shooted for when you are in a relationship and you are a couple, to have that show. Because I think everybody should have the ability or should be able to trust their partner and not feel like their partner's going to do them wrong if they don't do exactly what they say or something like that. No, that's not how it works. I don't want anybody walking on eggshells around me, and I don't want to walk, or I'm not going to walk on eggshells around anybody else. We're going to address the elephants in the room. We're going to be honest with each other, even when it hurts, even when it's not comfortable. I'd rather us have an understanding than to have our egos at work. Because if egos are at work, more than likely we are not coming together and trying to have a resolution for the situation. Respect, it's another one. Respect, obviously, you can love somebody and do something disrespectful, do something distasteful, do something that is not deemed favorable by your partner or the person that you're with. So I think it's a very good thing, because one thing about respect, if I don't know that I'm doing something that bothers you, the respect I have for you would compel me to speak to you, because I do have that respect with you and I don't want to do anything that's going to be deemed disrespectful to you. So I think respect is another quality that is of high magnitude when it comes to me as far as relationships. Trust. Trust is built off consistency. The more and more you do certain things, and the more and more I do certain things, I'm able to trust you in certain areas. In the areas I'm not able to trust you in, we'll be able to work at that, because I'll be able to know what to expect and what not to expect from you, be able to help you through the way in a situation. That's what a partnership, that's what a relationship is supposed to be about. So trust, and don't do anything that's going to bother that or harbor that trust or violate that trust when you're in a relationship, because that could be one of the worst things. Once that happens, a person has to second guess any and everything that you've said. So try to hold that dear to your heart when you're in a relationship as far as trust and that type of thing. And last but not least, of course, love has to be there. And I don't mean to say that love is the least of them all. I mean, in today's society, the way that people conduct themselves, the way that people go about things, to me, as a man, love would be, even though it's number 5, it could be number 1 if I'm a like-minded person. If I know that I can be vulnerable enough to give you that type of love and respect, that you're going to respect that and not misuse it, abuse it, or violate it. Of course, love is a very beautiful thing. I guess it's crazy to say that we have to have these other things to come and combat certain things, and so we don't have to be scared to open ourselves up to people. But the truth of the matter is that if you know better, you do better. So therefore, as you learn as you go, you don't let these things take away the good person you are, but they have to form some form of boundaries in you as you move forward in these relationships and trying to build healthy ones, because it's easy to be in a toxic relationship, and I definitely don't want to be in a toxic relationship no more. I have my feels of that, all the other things that come with that, and I just want to be in something that's very healthy. Being in a healthy relationship doesn't mean you have to agree all the time. It doesn't mean that you have to get along all the time. But you have to be respectful in going about whatever it is. And you have to have a willingness to want to come to a resolution and not want to butt heads and allow your egos to reign and deem supreme. So I hope that you have learned something from this episode. Like again, the love is all we need was the topic of the episode. I hope I was able to give something that was able to help somebody else, because it's all through experience and all through a willingness to be able to want to inspire and motivate people to be better and do better, because I am on that process, and I'm doing it as I go. So thanks again for tuning in to Pep Talk. Obviously, we're not in the normal recording place that I normally am, where you see the Pep Talk all around you and stuff like that. But I wanted to get this out. I wanted to get this episode done, and I had to go with what I was able to do right now at this time. So episode again, love is all we need. I will see y'all on the next episode. Can't wait. It will be something, of course, to let you know what it will be about once I figure it out. But it's been a pleasure. Y'all have a great and blessed day, and be good. Peace.